You worry too much for someone who figures it out every single time. It's a video that my beautiful mutual Lily sent me, and I feel like that really resonated with me, and I felt like I should share because I think that applies to like everyone. I feel like in this day and age, we all worry too much about everything, and that all that worry builds up within our body and it feeds our mind. And so, yeah, um, let's dive into it. My name is Caitlin, and welcome to my channel if you're new. I about a month ago. Well, okay, let's start from the beginning. I've not always, I guess, but definitely, as I got older into my teenage years and stuff, puberty really gets ya. Um, that's when all my worries and doubts started. And I think as a kid, I didn't really worry, obviously, because you're a kid, but as time goes on, you start to worry more, you start realizing real life and like just there's more stressors in your life, right? And so about a month ago, um, for some reason, all of that worry that I feel like I kind of healed just snuck back, crept back onto me. And I started worrying about literally nothing. Nothing was going on in my life. There was nothing out of the ordinary that was going on. If anything, um, summer just started, so I wasn't in school anymore, and I thought that the worry would be uplifted. But I definitely, things triggered it, and I was just in such a horrible place mentally and physically where I was just having panic attacks very often. And I didn't really know what to do because it felt like everything I did like just created more chaos within myself. And honestly, they got to a point like my state of mind and my physical being got so bad that I literally got like a fever, and I was not sick, but I just like felt so crazy. Like everything was just a mess, right? And deep down, I felt this like horrible feeling that like I'm gonna be like this forever. When I know, I feel like I always talk about this, but it's always gonna get better and it's gonna pass. Pain is temporary. But for some reason, this time it was much different. I couldn't itch that out of me. This don't know if I use that's not even I don't know why I worded it that way, but like it was like there was like an itch inside of me and I couldn't quite scratch it. Bingo, I got it. That like things weren't gonna get better, even though very deep down I knew it, but it just felt like it was deeper down within me that I couldn't quite grasp it that it was gonna get better. And I kept like digging myself deeper into my own hole. And oh my gosh, why? Guys, bear with me. I kept This is why sometimes I don't post videos because I literally can't speak English. Anyways, I just kept digging myself deeper. And until one day, I don't know what day it was because I wasn't keeping track, but I guess like weeks went by and I realized, you know what, I'm doing so much better. And I don't know, I kind of was just looking around and was like, whoa, like a couple weeks ago I was really suffering from for no reason. I mean, obviously there's reasons to things, but really like I think that's very common now. Like I've seen it within my friends and family. I think we get so deep into our head, and I feel like we don't talk about it enough. And once something passes, we kind of just like, but then it comes back again, and then you're kind of reminded of everything, and I feel like it comes back worse. And it's really scary. And in the moment, it's like, it feels like you have no one. You just feel so lonely, you know what I mean? And I then realized, like, if I keep holding myself back with this thought that if this could happen to me, this horrible panic attack or anxiety attack or this horrible depression or just this horrible feeling that I can't shake, if this could happen to me once, it's gonna happen again. And once things started to get better, I started haunting myself with that feeling like, oh, like I better enjoy the moment now because who knows, like maybe next week I'll have a panic attack and I'll recircle back into that mindset again. And it's almost like that part of me was like trying to hold myself hostage, or like it's like I was forcing myself to be grateful for the moment because I've suffered, instead of just being grateful for the moment because I should just be grateful. And I was holding myself back with that thought. And it was almost like I was manifesting for it to happen again. I was thinking it's going to happen again. I'm going to suffer again. And obviously, like, we're going to go through pain in life, and that's inevitable. But it's like I was manifesting the exact pain. If I had a horrible stomach ache and then the next day I was fine, I'm like, well, one day that stomach ache is going to come back. And it was like haunting me, you know? And I never really talked about that. I never really shared that. So you're the first person I shared with. But I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I think that's the problem with myself, is that I can never really enjoy something because of the way I've suffered. And it's almost like I'm still living in the suffering when I'm not suffering, you know, which is not healthy. And then I also kind of realized, again, bringing us back to that quote from the beginning of the video, um, I'm worrying so much when in the end I know I'm going to work out. So instead of me thinking while I'm suffering, or of me thinking while I'm okay, hold on, let me start from the beginning. Okay, rewind. Instead of thinking while everything is good and I'm at a stable place, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, but what if tomorrow I suffer again? Or what if tomorrow I'm anxious again? Or what if tomorrow I'm sad? What if I don't feel good tomorrow? What if I get sick? Instead of thinking it that way and not being in the present, I think from now on, while I'm suffering, I really need to emphasize, well, it's okay because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It's okay because I'm having this panic attack now, but you know what? I'm going to embrace it happening right now because I know eventually I won't be suffering, and I know eventually things will get better, you know? And I think it's so easy to drive towards negativity, and it's so easy to think poorly about things, but why why is that? Like, I feel like that just became like accepted through society to just think negatively, and I want to end that. I'm putting an end. I think it's easier to think positively, really, because thinking negatively brings more suffering and brings us more harm than good, and it's so much easier to bring good than harm. You know what I mean? It feels better too. It does not feel good to be negative, even though I guess we always drive towards it. And I believe that that is not our human nature. I think we definitely, all of us, want to drive towards goodness, but negativity comes from, I guess, a place of hurting and things that we don't talk about. And honestly, that's pretty sad. And I don't think there's anything wrong per se with being negative once in a while, or being sad or being anxious. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Obviously, that gets to a point. But really, like, I don't know, like, sadness to me, I kind of think of like Inside Out. Like, I feel like I'm always talking about Inside Out on this channel, but it's like we need it. You know what I mean? And people, whenever I get sad or whenever I cry in front of my friends or family, they're like, they try to get me to stop. And I think that's the problem. Let me cry. But I mean that seriously. Like, why do you want to stop me from experiencing an emotion when we can just be? You know what I mean? And I guess that brings me to my conclusion. Don't let the bad take away from the good. Let the bad help you remember the good. And if there's anything that you can do, is, I know it's so hard to not worry. Trust me. I worry all the time. And I think the more I worry, like, the worse things get. And then the worse things get, the more I worry. And it just becomes this endless cycle. But I think if I'm worrying and I embrace the worry, I'm worried, it feels like a breath, like I'm taking a giant exhale. If I'm kind of just like, oh, I'm anxious right now. Okay, I'm gonna let myself be anxious. And it kind of disappears when I just let it happen, I feel like that's when everything disappears. You know what I mean? Not everything. Okay, I feel like I'm wording this wrong. But when I just let myself feel the emotion, instead of trying to hold it back or hide it, it's so much easier for it to pass, or it's so much easier for me to just get through it. That's what I meant. Because I realize, like, whenever I'm super anxious and stuff, I know it's gonna pass, but whenever I'm super anxious, I'm like, why am I anxious? Why am I anxious? And I'm trying to stop. I'm just trying so hard. And I think that's what a lot of us try to do when we feel a certain way that we're not supposed to. For some reason, we think we're not supposed to feel anxiety, or we're not supposed to feel sadness, we're not supposed to feel anger. But the reason why we're feeling it so intensely is because we're holding back so much and we're trying to suppress it. But when we're in reality, the more we do that, the worse it gets. And that's where the worry, that's what worry is, really. And I realized, if I can just embrace it, if I can just go on about my day, okay, you know what, I am anxious right now, and it's just a feeling, it's just a thought, and I'm just gonna let it happen and see where this takes me. And usually, when I just let it, it passes in a much easier way. And I think that's what we do with happiness. When we're happy, we just, we just let it happen. We're not like, I'm happy right now, I'm happy right now, I'm happy right now. We don't think, I'm happy right now, I'm happy right now. We're just like, oh, honestly, whenever I'm happy, I feel like I don't think about how happy I am. I just am, you know? And why can't we do that with the rest of our emotions? So, yeah, sit with that. Think about that. And let yourself think about that and let yourself feel a certain way, however you feel right now, whether you're happy, sad, anxious, angry. Maybe you're feeling silly. Let it happen. Yeah. Anyways, this is a very long video. I'm sorry. But I hope you enjoyed. And whoa, I got really dizzy for a second. But I hope you have a very blessed day. And I hope you have a silly day. You know what? Embrace the silliness. I hope you have a silly day. Goodbye.